On behalf of the reception committee, I welcome you all to the inauguration ceremony of the Greenwich Institute. To begin with, I call the members of the Board of Governors to kindly come and take their seats. I will request the Executive Director, Mr. Kamal Ahmed Khan, to kindly come and take his seat. Mr. Kamal Ahmed Khan. Aston University, Birmingham, to kindly come and take his chair. Dr. S.D. Khan. I call Mr. E.Y. Siddharth, Senior Partner, Siddharth Heather Islam and Company, to kindly come and take his chair. Now I request Mr. G.R. Ashar, Managing Director, Rose Textiles Limited, who is also the past president of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Rome Farkin will be joining us a little late. Now I request Mr. M. Siddiq, Vice Chancellor, University of St. John Shore. He is also busy in a publication and he will be joining us late. Now I would request Dr. M. J. Clark, Director of Studies, Greenwich Institute, to please come and take his chair. I now request Mr. A. N. G. Abati, Managing Director, Parkways Investment Company Limited, to please come and take his chair. Now I request Mr. S.A.H. Shah and Mr. W.G. Hunt, which I'm sure they are not here. They are, due to some commitments, they won't be attending this ceremony. And finally, our respected and honorable Chief Guest, Dr. M. A. Kazi, who is advisor to the Prime Minister of Sciences and Technology, and who is also the patron-in-chief of the Greenwich Institution. I would like to invite him to the stage. Dr. M. A. Kazi. And Mr. Ibrahim Mafara.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما وضعك ربك وما قلاه وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى. ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى. فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما الصائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك تحدث. آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim Mafara. Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. M. A. Kazi, respected members of the Board of Governors, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege and an honor to address an august and distinguished gathering to this day. We all know that we are gathered here today for the inauguration ceremony of the Greenwich Institute, which is being established in Pakistan with technical talent and wisdom. This institute is closely linked with its sister institute, the Greenwich College London, which is the London campus of the Greenwich University, America. This Greenwich Institute is introducing an educational program for Pakistani students in the field of business management to prepare students with higher level of management courses with the best tradition of European and American universities so as to prepare high-quality business executives. The need of such an institution is being felt since long, as the demand for managerial scientists is fast growing in our country, and we hope that this institution will play a positive role in fulfilling these demands. The curriculum is designed to ensure that the graduates are equipped with best skills necessary to manage organizations both in private and multinational sectors. Now I would request the Executive Director of the Greenwich Institute, Mr. Kamal Ahmed Khan, to give his welcome address. Mr. Kamal Ahmed Khan.
Honorable Advisor to the Prime Minister, Dr. Meghazi, Dr. Akeem, Vice Chancellor of Western University, Member of the Board of Governors, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to invite you at the launching ceremony of this Greenwich Institute. And it's indeed a great pleasure for the formation of this institute, which is the culmination of a long series of meetings and processes in London and in the United States, preparing the groundwork for the formation of the institute. It has been, I must say, necessary to engage in detailed consultation in order to lay down the essential foundations of the program which we are offering in Pakistan. Our country will experience over the next few years an unprecedented demand for the incorporation of the management structures of our business enterprise. This is not a phenomenon unique to Pakistan, but is being experienced in our countries throughout the world. The competition to supply market, which includes both education, is extremely fierce, and we shall only survive in the scale of our human resources. Therefore, the development of Greenwich Institute is very much in line with the national economic planning objectives and the immediate practical need of our country. And here I would like to highlight immediately, whenever I should mention, the 5-point plan of the Prime Minister. It is just in line with that as well, which is developing the cause of education, rather than giving more for the citizens of our country. I would like to summarize some of the essential features of the operation which we are undertaking in Greenwich Institute. We felt it essential to ensure high quality standards right from the outset and not to make concessions or compromises in the quality of education that we are providing. Therefore, I am confident and I can confidently state that every person who graduates will be capable after the appropriate practical experience to take on the full responsibility of managing those institutions on which our future depends, and which is of course is important for the economic development of our country, and is a great assistance for those prospective students who will be joining them after qualifying, of course. I also find it important that our operations should have fluid international links. This is not because everything that happens in other countries is of use to Pakistan, but because we should recognize that new techniques are rapidly emerging abroad, and it should save us much time and money if we incorporate them immediately into our own program here. To consolidate this international linkage, I would arrange for European professor, and rather I have lined up all these things for our development program to come and conduct some of the courses in the program. Since the program, however, will links to Pakistan, we must ensure that it has a Pakistani orientation. Therefore, I am also arranging for the British faculty to be supplemented by some of the leading brands in this country. The combination will be very formative indeed. However, some students in this program, they may be allowed, rather all of them are allowed to take their final semester in the UK, that is the fifth one, without the payment of any additional tuition, which is again is a part of our joint venture program. We should be arranging some state of academic staff and ultimately joint research projects. And here I would also like to mention the services and expertise of our Director of Studies, Dr. Mike Clark, who is on our board of governors as well, who has been an ex-director, marketing director of Milton Finance Limited in UK. The initial program at Greenwich Institute will concentrate on business administration at the master's level. We shall, however, at an early date, be moving to the field of information technology and computer applications. We will also expect to be able to offer appropriate training to graduate students in hotel management in order to meet the rapidly growing demand of our tourist industry. The stream of highly trained executives, which will be definitely taking place after we graduated from Greenwich School, will also have a substantial stake in our reserve of foreign exchange. We will be saving a lot of foreign exchange. The government will be saving a lot of foreign exchange, and again, benefit for the country, which are currently being expanded to support our bright students in their attendance at overseas universities. However, I would also like to point out the problems of obtaining the visas nowadays for USA and of course in some senses for UK as well. And this program will develop good support in order to produce a high quality managers required for our country. It will be wrong to support, of course, that Greenwich Institute will be the only major institution in the country providing advanced education. I expect within a few years that the present efficiency in education facilities at this level will be supplied by several major universities and other institutions. However, I do believe that the approach we are adopting and the tradition we are setting at the institute will provide a basis and the yardstick for which the development of other institutions will eventually emerge. We should look forward to close cooperation with other institutions which will lead to raising standards education in our country. An important feature of management school abroad is the formation of alumni of graduates, which will form a network of professionally trained managers throughout the country. Eventually, when enough graduates have been produced, they will form professional associations similar to those already in operation in the most stabilized professions which have become the famous, and which is, I must say, that exists in our country as well. They will also bring to the management schools the feedback of their practical experience and enabling the schools to provide a judicious combination of academic and practical expertise. And I am proud to say that the British colleges have an association of professional training managers, those in UK who have graduated from British colleges, and they are in full cooperation, and the colleges making a complete record and making some research. At Greenwich Institute, we should be adopting the most up-to-date techniques, including computer simulation, case studies and business exercises. This is to ensure that our students do not suffer from being excessively academic and are able to relate their knowledge to real life experience. Though it's a very small speech, because I don't want to say much about it because we are just launching. I have highlighted the past and the present we are sitting here, and the future you can pray to the Lord that we find, and maybe in the next 2 months' time You can show some of our progress to you. And then I would be honored to thank the President of Pakistan, General Mohammad Ziaullah, Governor Hussain, Mr. Ashraf Ghani, the Education Minister, Mr. Dr. Ali Qassi, the President of Federation of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Abdul Qatar, the President of Karachi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Khalid Tawab, for their sincere and encouraging messages on this occasion. And I would also like to thank Dr. Henry Hunt, Vice Chancellor of Lancaster University. He has very kindly come all the way around to this place for this ceremony and has been providing all the assistance which we require. And in the end, I would also personally thank the services, the cooperation, the assistance, and the encouragement given by Dr. McCarthy at various levels. And now I will request Dr. Henry Hunt to please come and say a few words on the occasion.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I should first like to express how pleased I am to be participating in this new development in top-level management education. And for me, the pleasure is all the greater because it is taking place in Pakistan. This year is the first time I have come to Pakistan, and I am very impressed with the vigor of the people of the country and the determination that I find to progress to prosperity, within, of course, the traditions of the country. I am very much looking forward to a long period of active cooperation, which I hope will be of mutual benefit to all concerned. I'd like to start my talk this evening by talking about the need for development in management education. The last 40 years have seen enormous changes in the world of a scientific, political and economic nature. I will not repeat these on this occasion since they are all well known and well documented. But I want to make the point that nothing has happened which will have a more lasting effect than the way in which we organize our resources and the way we manage our institutions. This is true of Pakistan, it's true of all countries, whatever their position. And within management, there is taking place an enormous revolution. In fact, it's not very much noticed by the general public, because in some ways it's less spectacular than some of the more spectacular developments in science and technology. Nevertheless, its effects will result in just as profound a way in the long run as the others. I am referring, of course, when I talk about management, to the management of all forms of organisation, which includes the public sector as well as the private sector, and also the management of small companies as well as the management of large multinational companies. Let us think for a moment what would happen if we neglect management education. There would be very serious consequences indeed. At the beginning, a country which neglects management education would become uncompetitive. And particularly in view of the rapidly growing strength of the Western world and of the countries of the Pacific Basin, Japan and Singapore and the like, a failure to produce highly efficient management would ultimately mean the loss of the control of the economy to foreigners and all the dire political and economic consequences which would ensue. And I would argue, ladies and gentlemen, that nothing less than our economic sovereignty depends upon the maintenance of high standards of education management. And this is the reason I think that management education at the very highest level cannot be put off in time. It's not something which can be left till tomorrow. It can't be relegated to a low level of priority. It is a matter of urgency, a matter of here and now. Now I think on this first occasion, it would be pertinent to consider what are the important constituents of good management education. Now the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is to gain a substantial knowledge base. Management education is about education concerning key areas such as marketing, finance and accounting, information management, international business, management of human resources, and many more specialities. These are all changing very rapidly, and an up-to-date management system is required to ensure an effective knowledge base. It's essential that management graduates should have a detailed knowledge of all of these, and also an understanding of how to keep abreast of new developments. That's very important in a time of rapid change. The techniques and knowledge which are learned today will be out of date tomorrow, and it's important that managers are sufficiently educated to keep themselves abreast of changes when they take place. However, management education is not solely concerned with the possession of knowledge. Knowledge has to be applied to practical situations. Knowledge is a rapidly moving subject, as I've said. It is knowledge. A graduate with only knowledge is insufficiently educated. What else does he require? Well, I would argue he requires to be able to develop analytical skills. Those analytical skills which enable him to make sense of the situation in which he finds himself, to understand an organization, the skills to prescribe solutions, and to take decisions which are going to produce successful results. Therefore, good management requires not only knowledge, it requires analytical skills and critical skills amongst the people who are receiving the education. A third thing also is required in a management curriculum. I would call this the development of respect for experience. Because the last thing a newly trained manager, a newly trained graduate should do when entering an organization is to try to turn it upside down immediately. That is a big mistake. Management is not only a science, it is an art of working with the cooperation of people. People are the thing that makes an organization work. A manager who does not have the willing support of his employees is a bit like a general who doesn't have the willing support of his troops. He's going to lose his battle. The manager is going to lose his task if he doesn't have the willing support of his employees. Therefore, what I'm arguing is in addition to the technical knowledge of management, graduate managers should understand how to perceive the problems of motivation and respect in organizations. And this is particularly true in the case of junior managers who do not possess the privilege of modern education, but nevertheless have lots of experience. It is extremely important not to upset such people who are the backbone of an organization. Therefore, the skill of managers is to use their knowledge with the cooperation of those who've got long years of experience in the organization. Now, Greenwich Institute is very much aware of these important factors. I myself shall take it as my responsibility to ensure that our programme here contains all these attributes, that we produce graduates who possess a large knowledge base. That's essential. Graduates who possess sharp analytical skills and critical skills. That's important if they are to survive for a long period of time. And thirdly, graduates capable of being effective through their ability to harness the support and experience of their employees. The human factor is absolutely vital in all organisations. I would this evening also like to talk about the question of standards. As you've heard from the chief executives, the objective of Greenwich Institute is to make a significant impact on the management training needs of Pakistan. If it doesn't do that, it will not have succeeded. The whole of the operation here is being geared to that end. Therefore, I should like to emphasize the absolute importance of setting and maintaining good standards. This is the essential prerequisite for success. Now, how are we going to set these academic standards? What safeguards are we going to build in? What control processes are we going to employ? Well, the first of these is a rigorous examination for entry. We are setting candidates who want to enter our program a rigorous test to ensure their capability. This examination is not designed or devised solely to test knowledge of the applicant. A person can possess knowledge but be lacking in capability. More importantly, it is designed to test the individual's intellectual qualities. The examination for entry that we set must provide the answer to one essential question. Has the candidate got the potential to benefit from the highest quality education? Those candidates who do not show this to be the case will not qualify for entry to the program. That is one essential safeguard. A second essential safeguard to underpin quality is the appointment of academic staff of the top level. What counts at the end of the day is the quality of the academic quality. Well, we have determined that it should be of the highest quality. You will not find another management school in the country with the same quality of academic staff that we are going to possess here. Some professors will be sent to the institution from the United Kingdom. I shall personally handpick those who are coming, both in terms of their academic quality and in terms of their practical record as successful managers. They must possess the two qualities: academic excellence and an outstanding record of practical achievement. These are the people who are coming from England. However, it would be wrong to have a completely full complement of staff from abroad. The context of this management training is in Pakistan, and therefore the British professors will be joined by carefully selected Pakistani staff whose reputations are well established. This is going to be the academic staff, a combination of British and Pakistani staff who will be supervised by myself. There is, furthermore, a third form of guaranteeing the quality of the work that we are undertaking. I refer to the examinations for the awarded degrees. These will be both set and marked in London. I'm going to insist on this feature, not because I think that people here haven't got the ability to mark at the right standard, but because I want to satisfy myself. I want to oversee the operation myself. I want to ensure that the standards of performance in the examinations are identical to those which have been now long established in international business schools. I want to be absolutely sure that a purely objective view can be taken concerning the performance of individual candidates. So it's in these three things: the entrance examination test, which is going to be rigorous; the quality of academic staff, which is going to be Anglo-Pakistani of the highest quality; and the examinations which are set, I feel, are a certain guarantee of education of the highest quality. Lastly, I would like to turn to the international character of this collaborative operation. It is an educational collaboration between Great Britain and Pakistan. Now, this has many advantages. To start with, it's a particularly enriching experience for the students, whose horizons will be broadened beyond their immediate locality. They will be trained to think internationally. They will be trained to select the best as they perceive it, not everything, but the best as they perceive it from European and American education, and those who apply it to their own responsibilities in Pakistan. Now, some caution, I think, needs to be expressed about international collaborative operations. They can be failures if certain care is not taken over the way they're organised. Can I put it this way to you, that the world is full of people, as we know, with different cultures. A policy or a course of action which works in one country's culture does not necessarily work effectively in the context of another country's culture. To put more specifically, Pakistani students will not be taught European solutions to Pakistani problems. European solutions relate to European property. Therefore, Pakistani students will be taught Pakistani solutions for Pakistani problems. And I, for one, am determined that this should be the theme of our program. In addition to that, throughout our program of courses, throughout our education, great respect will be paid for Pakistani culture. Every effort will be made to ensure that the traditions and values of this country are given full weight in the educational process. We are not trying to produce educated Europeans, we are trying to produce educated Pakistanis. And this is absolutely essential if the graduates who are trained at Greenwich University are going to play their full effective part as the leading managers of this country. Dr. Carty, we are at the beginning of a major innovation in education, which is very exciting and contains a very great promise. I feel myself very privileged to sit on the Board of Governors with some of the most distinguished individuals in this country. I certainly look forward to a fruitful outcome of this new development.
Thank you, Dr. H.G. Hunt. Dr. H.G. Hunt is the Vice Chancellor of Aston University, Birmingham, and Academic Director of Greenwich College, London. And if we have time, at the end of the session, we will have a question-answer session, the question being directed to Dr. Hunt. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. G.R. Asher, who is the Managing Director Rose Textile Mills Limited, and past president of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Karachi. He is also the Honorary Consul General of Somalia. He is here, I believe, and I would request him to kindly come on the stage and take his chair. Mr. G.R. Arshad. And now I request Honorable Chief Guest Dr. M.A. Kazi, who is the advisor to the Prime Minister and is also the patron-in-chief of the Greenwich Institute, Dr. M.A. Kazi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dr. Hunt, Mr. Kamal Khan, members of the Board of the Governors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great pleasure and privilege for me to speak to you this evening on the occasion of launching ceremony of the Karachi campus of Greenwich Colleges, London. I am happy that the Greenwich Colleges have agreed to participate in Pakistan's education program in the field of business administration, and that they would make available their rich experience at home to Pakistani students in their own environment. We thank them for their cooperation and goodwill in this endeavor. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome Dr. H.G. Hunt, Vice Chancellor of Aston University, who is personally helping us to establish this institute at Karachi. We thank him for having come all the way to participate in today's proceedings. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are already aware, Pakistan in the past few years have registered impressive growth in business and industry. This has necessitated increasing inputs of trained and qualified executive manpower in the system. Although we have some good institutions in the country, they are not able to meet the increasing demand of quality education in management science in the country. The establishment of Greenwich Institute at Karachi will be a welcome addition to the overall national effort in this direction. During the past decade or so, there has been a rapid growth of interest in management development and training. Many innovations in management techniques have emerged and new methodologies to enhance the managerial ability of business executives have been developed in many countries. In fact, today, trained and experienced managers are considered an important resource in business and industry, and their ready availability has become critical to the survival and development of these organizations. Consequently, management science has assumed great importance, and a number of good institutions have emerged in different countries of the world where regular courses are being taught in management science, business administration, and related fields. Management science is a new approach to the decision-making process. It utilizes scientific methods and techniques for finding out solutions to business problems. It helps to increase managers' knowledge and insight into the basic characteristics and relationships of his business. It provides him reliable and timely information to help him in controlling his organization more effectively. However, management science can never be a substitute for business information acumen which a gifted businessman may have. It may only help him to reduce time he needs for routine decisions. Management development must be related to the development goals and ethos of the nation. It must meet rigorous criteria of relevance and utility, flexibility, efficiency, urgency, national identity, and above all, certain measure of responsiveness to socio-economic and political reality. However, the principles of business administration are not absolute. They are relative to the culture of the society. Japanese unorthodox methods and practices of management have little resemblance to the modern management principles. Yet, Japan's business effort is acknowledged as a great success story throughout the world. By its very nature, international management needs the ability to cope with cultural differences. Unfortunately, the working culture of the public sector industries and business establishments in Pakistan has been developed on the pattern and practices of government departments and ministries. Same rules and regulations, similar procedures and precedents, and similar hierarchies, authorities and jurisdictions are prevalent in these organizations, with the result that things move very slowly and not in time to catch up with the competitive trends in the world market. There is a need for innovation and improvement in both the style and methodology of administrative functioning inside and outside these institutions to make them more effective and profit-yielding. There has to be a shift from bureaucratic culture to business culture in our management system. It is well known that the administrative pattern and the management style influences considerably the climate of an organization and its performance. It is therefore incumbent that right type of people who combine different technical and managerial qualities are selected to steer these organizations. Further, they must also undergo sound training which should expose them to modern management techniques and procedures, and as well as equip them with an awareness of the larger aims of the society, the needs and requirements of the nation, and the capacity of people and institutions to respond to rapid changes and growing demands of modernity. For business management and technical entrepreneurship, we require leaders with vision and wisdom, with understanding and drive, with far-sightedness and ingenuity, and above all, with knowledge, know-how, and experience before we expect any substantial improvement at the national level. We must remember that generating new technologies does not by itself result in industrial development and consequent economic growth. The more important thing is the degree to which we are able to successfully commercialize our products and processes. For all this, sound and effective management is of critical importance. We must achieve this through a planned and a deliberate learning process. I am confident good institutions like the one we are launching today would help us achieve this objective. Having said this, I would now like to make few remarks about the urgent need of quality education in various technical fields in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is a developing country. It is passionately devoted to the development of its resources and advancement and welfare of its people. Its goals for national development clearly warrant much greater emphasis and investment in quality education in order to produce high-quality manpower in different fields of economy to meet the new requirements and challenges of the future. In fact, the quality of intellectual and professional talent brought into any system sets the ultimate limit for its attainment. Consequently, the planned expansion and improvement of quality education has acquired more than ever a great sense of urgency and importance in the country. The present system of education in the country is a legacy from the past. It is unfortunately not dynamic enough to meet the growing demands of a newly developing country. In fact, it has proved inadequate and insufficient to fulfill our national goals and aspirations. The system is not fully geared to meet adequately new demands of agriculture, industry, trade, commerce, engineering and medicine of an independent developing nation. It has remained static in orientation and the elements of quality, change and challenge are not particularly visible in the system. In fact, the trouble starts from the very beginning and the early years of school education. Our educational system places an exclusive emphasis on the formal school program. It believes in single-point entry, annual promotion, regular attendance, verbal fluency, narrow individualism, unhealthy competition, blind acquisition of information, examination results, divisions and degrees. The emphasis is mainly on teaching than on learning. The educational institutions function in isolation from the community and insulation from one another. The system produces a tailored model of a white-collar man and certainly not an ideal model of an educated and a cultured man with a social and intellectual conscience. Besides, our educational system is not universal. It is not available to all citizens of the country. It is mainly the upper and middle classes that are the beneficiaries
of the system. There are wide disparities in the provision of facilities in rural and urban areas for male and female students in English medium and Urdu medium schools and for different kinds of schools in various settings and environments. Besides, the education system suffers from the stigma of double standards which has been perpetuated over the years through lack of foresight and lopsided planning of our educational efforts. Access to good institutions is difficult, region of curricula and reforming of courses. Origin relevance between educational programs and required competencies in the labor market is the only way the question of quality education can be explained in economic terms. Consequently, a sound general education system is absolutely essential for high quality scientific and technical education in the country. Thus, our education system needs not only a drastic overhauling but complete transformation during the course of time. It needs change of character and a transformation of the value system and technical practice. However, complementary to the educational reform is a social and economic transformation, and unless this is planned side by side, the impact of educational changes will not be felt to any great extent or advantageous. A parallel program of social transformation must be launched with the spirit and fervor of a mass movement. An attempt is being made at national level through Prime Minister's 5-point program to give a new sense of direction and new hope to our educational system. Hopefully, the present educational scenario will improve considerably in few years' time. Before concluding, I would once again reiterate that the importance of management sciences in developing economies cannot be underestimated. In order to maintain their steady growth pattern and to acquire proficiency in management of trade and commerce of the country, we require trained and experienced people. We must produce them within the country and give them sound training so that they can meet the challenges of tomorrow in this fast-growing world. I expect the Greenwich Institute Karachi to participate fully along with other similar institutions in the country to fill this gap early. I also hope that the Institute will maintain international standards in its training program. In the end, I would like to thank the organizers for providing me this opportunity to talk to you and to be amongst you this day. Mr. Kamal Ahmed Khan, Executive Director of the Institute, has worked very hard in organizing the Institute and seeing it through its initial troubles. He deserves our praise for the good work he has done. I am now happy to formally launch this institute and declare it open for enrolling students for studying in business administration on this day of 16th April 1987. I wish the institute success in its endeavor. Rahul Dawna and Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Dr. M.D. Kazi. And once again, I will call the Executive Director, Mr. Kamal Ahmed Khan, to come and give a vote of thanks. Mr. Kamal Ahmed Khan.
Thank you, Dr. Kazi. And I would like to thank all the ladies and gentlemen on behalf of the Board of Governors and Dr. Ricky Hunt, especially, and Dr. Kazi. And I would also like to thank the attendance of the representative of Asian Foundation, who has very kindly flown from Islamabad for this occasion and is beginning a hard work for the promotion of supplying books to various educational institutions. And we would like to extend our assistance to them in their program. I would also like to thank on behalf of those board members who have not ladies and gentlemen, we would like to proceed because as you all get here, they are around. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. And now I would request you all to proceed for refreshment. Thank you. Muito